Hi there, it's only me. Hope you're doing okay today. This is Ellipsis, where I talk about my homebrew world. I wanted to tell you something pretty cool today. We're about to start the second long form campaign of our little group. The first one took 3 years. It started in January 2020 and finished up in November 2022. And it was not planned to be like that. The first campaign was a one-shot little thing that we threw together because a couple of people that I knew wanted to play D&D, and everyone made a character that was going to work for a couple of sessions because we thought maybe it might go for one or two more. And then the pandemic hit and everyone wanted to play a little bit more, and we went from one session every month to 3 a week very rapidly. And the little town that I'd made as a home base for us to do missions out of just wasn't enough anymore. So I made a world. This time it's going to be intentional. We're actually planning to have a levels 1 to 15 campaign that I'm going to try and plan BBEGs for ahead of time and not just sort of run by the seat of my pants the whole time. And everyone's making characters that are different. The first time for, I would say, half the group, they'd never played before. So they just made whatever seemed fun. We had 2 paladins, and for the first 5 or so games, they didn't even know they had spells. So this time round, they're a lot more intense about their character creation. And part of that is because of the world that we created together. Now all of the characters have some place in it, which is really, really exciting. This homebrew world, Ellipsis, it really did spiral out of nothing. We started with a small coastal town called Windhoek that just had an adventurers guild and some taverns and, you know, all the things that you would just have in a nice little level 1 village. And then there were cities, and then another continent, and all this political intrigue that I kind of came up with on the spot that's now part of the lore of the world. And my players did not make it easy for me. They, at every opportunity, they would find a library to learn more, and I would have to just either come up with it on the spot, or when I realised that this is what they started to do, I have a document that is called Books and Scrolls, with authors and vague descriptions of possible lore items that they might discover, just because I know that they like to test me like that. But anyway, for campaign 2, all of these people have now created characters that are fully embedded in this world, and it's quite exciting to see how the first campaign has shaped them. We have a couple of people who, like I say, had never played before, and they weren't really sure about role-playing the first time, and they were a little bit unsure. By the end of the first campaign, they have been just flying. Like, they're just initiating all sorts of things. I could just sit back and relax and just let them talk amongst themselves for hours on end. And I did regularly. By the end of the campaign, we had more talking sessions than we had fighting sessions. And they were all okay with that, which I was really glad to hear. But with this time, we've got the same world. I'm not making another one. And they're going to start in a new city that they have heard of and they've seen on their big map, but they've never been to with their previous characters, so it's all fresh. And with this new place, I wanted to make a city that was a little bit bigger, had a little bit more going on, and keep them there for a little bit longer. The first time round, like I say, we didn't know what we were doing. We did not know we were going to go for 100 sessions, so we just rushed off. But this time, I want to keep them a little bit more local, take them through some mysteries and some intrigue, and let them enjoy themselves as low-level characters. So for campaign 1, we had 2 paladins, a cleric, a wizard, a ranger/fighter, and a bard. That's a lot of healing, and that's a lot of big, heavy hitters. So very quickly, the enemies that they were facing got pumped up. I beefed them up quite a lot. They had a lot of extra hit points, bigger attacks, better pools for damage output. This time we don't have the healing necessarily, so I'm going to try and keep it a bit more to the CR rating, as much as that doesn't matter. But we're going to try and keep it a little bit more low-key. What happened at the end of the last campaign means that there's fewer magic items around, so we're going to try and be a little bit less heavy on the magic. Or at least magical items that they can just pick up and discover and do all sorts of crazy things with. So that's also a kind of fun challenge for me, is to work out how to make this a fun game for them without giving them rewards of weird new magic items. Because of the way that the last campaign ended, they just don't exist anymore. I've been preparing a few plot threads. I don't know which ones they're going to latch onto, but I want to put a couple of different things in their path and see how they react to them. The things that they pick up I'll run with, and the things that they ignore we can leave until later. There's a couple of options for BBEGs. I haven't picked one because I don't know what they're going to want to do. This isn't really one of those campaigns where I'm trying to push them into a particular direction. These are super player-guided campaigns, and I really enjoy it like that. The challenge is me coming up with what's going on week to week. With this group, they very quickly got an airship and would suddenly decide to go somewhere else. By the end of the campaign, they were plotting out their trajectory. They had places to go. They had dates to hit that they needed to go through. So it was really, really easy for me to plan. But at the beginning, when they could just go anywhere, there were times when they said, "Oh, we're going to go here now," and I would have to end the session because I did not have anything prepped for them. So keeping them low level for a little bit of time and keeping them in a contained city, I think it's going to be a little bit more straightforward, a little bit easier on me, and it'll give me a little bit more time to plan things down the line. But we'll see. I've got lots of individual things planned for our first game, but I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what direction they'll go off in. I don't know if they'll suddenly pick up one of these threads and run with it. I don't know if they'll suddenly latch on to a particular NPC who I'll have to come up with a lot of additional material for. So this is the most unprepared that I could possibly be for a session. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that in the future I can talk to you after each of the games, or maybe before some of the games, about how my planning's going. I can talk to you about some of the tools that I'm using, how I'm plotting, have a look at some maps, some minis that I've picked up, or some tokens that I've made. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool campaign, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you about it. But if you liked this, and you liked hearing me ramble about what we're going to do, it would be cool if you could like or subscribe, or maybe even both. And if you're a DM or a player, why not just leave a little comment and say how you prepare for a new campaign? Do you write up loads and loads of stuff, or do you just kind of wing it? I would love to know what everyone else does, because this is the first time I'm really planning it. I'd love to talk to you more.